we're here doing this carpet rip out, and as you could tell, there is existing hardwood flooring underneath that we are planning on refinishing and bringing back to life. But in the process of removing the carpet, we found this mysterious plywood patch here, and today I'm going to show you how we go about fixing that and interlacing new hardwood boards to the existing floor. What we're going to do is these pieces of plywood are put in with Phillips screws. So we're going to start by removing the screws. So now that I believe we have all the screws out, we're going to lift up the board carefully so that you do not damage the other boards around it. Oh, careful. Yep, there we go. So now that we got the plywood out, we're going to start working on getting some of the hardwood boards out that need replaced. Due to those screws in the boards, we're going to be taking that entire 4 rows that way out. As I mentioned before, you want to be careful not to damage the outer boards of what you are replacing because those are not going. So I'm going to show you how you manage getting out boards that are in between those outer boards. What I just did is I pretty much cut a U in the board, but I left the tongues on each side, the female and the male end. And the reasoning for that is that we could just pull out what I cut and then carefully take out the male and the female end from the outsides. So you take out the U carefully to not damage the board. Wiggle it out of there. Goodness. Goodness. So as you can tell, all of the boards here are flush, which you don't want. That's where the interlacing the boards comes in. So once we remove the boards that need to come out, what we're planning on doing is you take a zip tool and you cut it in random patterns to lace it together. Or else you're just going to have a really big square here that's going to be flush on all ends. So now what Ivan is doing is he is marking where we are going to be cutting the boards so that we can lace them in together.
To save you a bit of time on these cuts, instead of going all the way through them with the multi-tool only, you can go ahead and plunge cut most of these cuts ahead of time, leaving you with only 1 or 2 to use the multi-tool on. It's a little bit complicated trying to explain that, so I'll just show you. So now we got to do the same thing we just did there to both of these ends. So that'll take a while. With this patch specifically, we have this weird island patch right here and a lace in on that end. We've decided we're just going to rip this entire thing out instead of dealing with lacing in both ends of this. When it comes to choosing lumber for your patch, you're going to want to make sure you choose a similar grade to the existing floor, just so it doesn't stick out too much. You don't want knotty wood for a clear floor, and you don't want clear wood for a knotty floor. For all of our floor patches, we use a high quality hardwood flooring adhesive throughout the entire patch. This just keeps anything from moving. We also make sure to nail down our boards as well. So whenever you have an old floor and you're doing a new patch, the new boards are always going to be significantly tighter than the old floor. So this creates a gap at the end. It might create some weird tapering or just funkiness on that last board. So the solution to that, and a great way to mark your boards for that taper, is to mark one end right here at the start of your taper, the highest point or the lowest. And then over here, you mark how long your board is. So you have a reference point. And you can do the same thing, mark the edge right there. And then you will take a board that's long enough to reach this, mark that, run it through the table saw, flip it over, and you want to take off this little groove. And that's why we have that glue down, so that it'll actually stick. And then you can just pop that board right down in there, and it'll fit perfectly. There will be a slight taper, but it's hardly noticeable. Very cool. I hope this video gave you a good understanding of the inside working of a patch and how you would go about doing it yourself. If you like this video, please consider watching more of our videos and subscribe.